back if he gets some better service, then he can build with us.
And Salaki, and can I still ask that one question? I don't want to disrupt the stage.
Oh, what was the one question? What was it?
Okay, in the book of Ezekiel, I got a loud background real quick. Man, in the book of Ezekiel, the 44th chapter, it talks about the Zadok priesthood coming back. Is that going to be in the New Testament, or when the New Testament comes and all that?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
Okay, it says that the priests are going to teach the Israelites in that time frame. Is that in the New Covenant, or is that
just
you
read it?
It's easy. Okay. It's the book of Ezekiel. I'm going there right now. I'm over here. I'm on my phone. Ezekiel, the 44th chapter. I'm going to the 23rd verse. It says, I started 22. It says, neither shall they take for their wives a widow, nor that is put away. But this is talking about the priesthood. They shall take maidens of seeds of the house of Israel, or a widow that had a priest before. And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane, and cause them to discern between unclean and clean. So it says that they're going to teach his people. So I'm saying, if you just said that was in the New Covenant, are they teaching in the New Covenant?
Are you saying that is the covenant as in going into the kingdom, or are you saying New Covenant as what? What are you saying?
Well, I asked you. That's what I'm learning. I'm not combating or nothing. I said, is the Zadok priesthood in the New Covenant?
I thought you were saying, is this the old kingdom or the new kingdom? This is the new kingdom. So this is context in terms of going into the new kingdom. So I don't teach that nobody is going to be teaching coming into the new kingdom. So when you go into Ezekiel, the context of Ezekiel is that there's an order of prophecy. So you're going to be teaching all the way up until we go under the bond of the new covenant. So if you're saying this is the new kingdom, yes, this is the new kingdom. But if you're saying, are we under the new covenant in this, in Ezekiel 44 in this verse? No.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not combating that. I'm just saying, I hear all the time, you go to Jeremiah, it says, you should teach no more of my people to know the Lord, but we're teaching right here. And you know what I'm saying? So that's
there's an order.
That's why I'm asking.
I understand what you're saying. There's an order of prophecy. So I'm saying there's teaching going to happen all the way up until teaching should not exist anymore. So you see purging of rebels going all the way up until we come under the bond of the new covenant. So there's a process and an order of things. Just like when you see in the quote unquote, old kingdom, when you read in the Torah, there's an order of things of the everlasting covenant rolling out. You're actually seeing blood being shed before the covenant is rolled out. You actually see that. So I'm saying there's an order of things. So both things are true, but what you're doing is you're putting Ezekiel 44 in verse 23, or whatever verse you just read, after Jeremiah 31, where it's speaking about when the new covenant is rolled out and all things are perfect.
Okay.
That's a lot cool, right? Can I say something to that point?
Yeah, that's fine, but you're kind of low, I believe.
Okay. Oh my God. All right, can I be heard now?
King.
Yeah, I think this right here, when it's talking about the sons of Zadok, in my opinion, I think it's talking about the kingdom, right? Because if you go up to Numbers Ezekiel chapter 45 and you can start at verse 1 on down. It'll be talking about the portions that we're gonna have in the kingdom, right? And we know, according to the Bible, that the sons of Zadok are gonna be the priests that's gonna be doing the sacrifice and stuff like that when we get into the kingdom. So we can read that. Matter of fact, let me just grab it right quick. Let me just grab it. Salakia. All right. This is the book of Ezekiel. Let me get to it, King. This book of Ezekiel chapter 45, and I'm going to start at verse number 1. It says, moreover, when ye shall divide by lot the land for inheritance, ye shall offer an oblation unto the Lord, and holy portion of the land. The length shall be the length of 25,000 reeds, and the breadth shall be 10,000. This shall be a holy, and all the borders that roll around about. Right, so it's just giving like a a number of how things gonna be. So verse 4, I'm gonna drop down to verse 8. Verse 8 says, and the land shall be his possession in Israel, and my princes shall no more oppress my people, and the rest of the land shall they give to the house of Israel according to their tribes. Right, so we see right here he's saying the land shall be in possession in Israel. Right, so we know we'll be back in the land. We'll be doing our thing. He said, and my princes shall no more oppress my people. Right, so this gonna be afterwards. Right, let me read. You can drop down to. I'm gonna drop down to verse. Let me drop down to. I'm gonna go over to 44 right quick. 44 and verse. I think it's in verse 15, talking about the sons of Zadok. I think it's verse. It said, but the priest. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 44, and verse 15. It said, but the priests, the Levites, the sons of Zadok, that kept the charge of my sanctuary, when the children of Israel went astray from me, they shall come near to me to minister unto me, and they shall stand before me to offer unto me the fat and the blood, said the Lord thy God. Right, so it right there talking about, the sons of Zadok going to be the priests. And they're going to be, making the offerings to the Most High, right? So if you go to, I'm going to go over to, what chapter is that?
And I'm not trying to, like, what's the point of what you're telling me right now?
No, I was just because you asked about the sons of Zadok, was they going to be making sacrifices? Was your question?
That was not my question.
Oh, damn, I misheard you. My bad, Dan King. What was your question?
I was just saying, it just seems like we're going to be teaching each other.
Y'all hear me?
Even.
I can hear you.
Okay, so
my bad. Now I got my AirPod in now, so I was just trying to make sure I could be heard. But yeah, I was just saying, that his point was more so on the teaching. That's what I was saying. It's an order of things in terms of a rollout. When you look at Ezekiel 44 and verse 1, it tells you, it says, then he brought me back the way of the gate of the outward sanctuary, which looketh toward the east, and it was shut. So these are visions that's happening to Ezekiel of the future in terms of, the landmass and how it's going to be built up, like the ruins and everything, how it's going to be built back up. So this is a rollout. You can actually see the context in the chapter when you just keep reading. I don't want to read the whole thing, but I'll just keep going. It says, then said the Lord unto me, this gate shall be shut, it shall not be open, and no man shall enter in by it, because the Lord, the God of Israel, hath entered in by it. Therefore it shall be shut. So this is a rollout of what this vision that Ezekiel is receiving, that the kingdom looks like and what it's going to look like. But this has nothing to do with the entrance into the new covenant unless you can show that particular text right here in this chapter. If you can't show it in this chapter, then you would have to place it in prophecy in time. So where would you place this in prophecy in time? Well, is the brother still up here? Yeah,
yes, sir. Listen, I'm Corey. I'm not here to start no crap. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking.
No, I'm with you. Yeah,
okay, all right. Most High Christ. Yeah, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it like in Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. You know how you gotta go under the bond of the covenant and go purge out the rebels. So when the rebels get taught the law, if they say we want to eat pork, you're dead. Now you don't have to teach the Lord, because that's the judgment. Like you dig what I'm saying? Like you're gonna all that judgment. To know the Lord is the judgment. So when you get taught, that's, you know what I'm saying? I'm still seeing you I'm saying it looked like we're still going to even get taught in the wilderness to even go under the bond. That's what I'm saying.
Hold on. So wait, let me get some clarity from you. What is the purging of the rebels?
The ones that are being like
isn't the rebels?
Okay, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, it's no problem. I'm saying, like, isn't the rebels rebelling from God? Isn't they not doing what God said?
Absolutely, that's breaking the laws of God. However, you still have to. You had okay, yes, sir.
No, I was just gonna say. So in Ezekiel 44, if you look at the context, this is a separation of the purging of rebels. You can see it. Like it's. I'll just read some of it. Ezekiel 44. It says in verse 10. It says, "And the Levites that are gone away from me, when Israel went astray, which went astray away from me after their idols, they shall even bear their iniquity." So when you keep going, it's showing the separation. Like even in verse 9, "Thus saith the Lord God, no stranger uncircumcised in heart, no uncircumcised in flesh shall enter into my sanctuary of any stranger that is among the children of Israel." So you keep going. This is a contest between a righteous group of Israelites and an unrighteous group of Israelites. So you can't say, unless you're going to teach that in the new covenant there is going to be an unrighteous group of Israelites inside of the kingdom, then sheesh, Lord be with you then. I don't know.
And I don't mean to be rude. I literally just said the opposite of that. I said that when you get to the wilderness, you'll be taught the law. Those who wish to rebel against it will be purged during that moment. That's what I said.
And that's what I guess that's what I'm agreeing on. That's why I was saying I didn't know what was the confusion. It wasn't that I was trying to put something on you. I'm saying I didn't know what was the confusion. So I'm actually agreeing on you. I'm just saying that inside of the new covenant, because when you came and asked the initial question, I thought you were saying like, is like the argument usually about Ezekiel is did this happen already? Is this the old kingdom? Was this under David? Or was
that's not my
going to be built in the future? So usually that's what it is. So if you actually said covenant, I thought you said kingdom. So I thought you were saying like, is this like the new structures being built up and, you know, the spiritual things coming back and how Ezekiel breaks down that in prophecy throughout the text, but then you will still need discernment to know what chapter goes where and what is going where. So I thought that's what you were asking, and then you were saying like under the new covenant, and I'm like, nah, like we're not gonna be teaching under the new covenant, so you would have to tell me how you feel like this is under the new covenant. So that was the only thing, but I get your point, okay?
Yeah. So when if you know, in Jeremiah the 31st chapter, they say we're going to be like downloaded with all the laws into our minds. Like we're going to just know the Lord. We're going to know everything's going to be downloaded. I'm like, where do y'all see that? You know, because like this would be my contention right here. Like, I don't see us being downloaded with it. I feel like we all got to go through learning it all over. You know what I'm saying? Under the guise of Yahweh Shai, there won't be no mistakes. It won't be no, you know, like room for interpretation. It won't be that. It'll just be straight up and down. This is what it is. No talk back. That's my thought process.
So, just for clarity, what was your difference between quote unquote downloaded? What's your difference?
Well, okay, I'm not putting no camps on nothing. Okay, I'm saying there's some individuals that'll say we're going to be downloaded with the law, so nobody can sin. That's what it said. Okay, boom. And I'm seeing right here like the Zadok priesthood coming and teaching. So I'm like, is this a part of the new covenant? Is it not a part of the new covenant? Is this like we're still in the old covenant and we're still going into the new covenant? That's why they're teaching us, and then we'll be downloaded. Like, you understand my question? Like that's my question.
Yes. So I kind of dealt with the back half of that. I was trying to address the downloading part. So you were saying that you don't. Did you say you currently don't agree about the quote unquote downloading?
I reading this particular passage, I'm having trouble with agreeing with that. Yes, I am.
Hold on 1 second. I gotta grab this package. Daniela, can you give me 2 minutes?
Power one. So just to respond to Akar's position, so the way that we understand it in Jeremiah 31 is about the fact that I'll go there too in the Hebrew. So let me just go there. Jeremiah 31 and 34, where it says, and no, or just I'm just going to read it as it's written. And they shall teach no more.
I'm back to that, y'all. But it's like you got it.
Okay, come. It says, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Lord. For I will forgive their iniquity and will remember their sin no more. So when you go into the Hebrew for the word teach there, it is the Hebrew word lamad. Strong's H3925, the Hebrew word lamad, which literally means to be exercised in, to learn, or to be chastised. So our position would be that once the new covenant is completely established and we are in the kingdom, as Jeremiah 31 is laying out as a process, once you're actually there, your heart is going to be set on fulfilling the law. There won't be any questions of going back and forth. Because even if the individuals in Ezekiel 20 in the wilderness and in Ezekiel 44 are being taught the law so that we can make a separation between those who will want to be righteous and those who will want to be wicked, there is always still a part of you that finds ways to avoid keeping the commandments of God. Despite you trying, there's always ways that you find to break the laws of God. So our position is that once the kingdom is established, that desire to break God's laws will go away. Your heart is going to change from being a perverted, wicked heart, which Israelites have, to a clean and pure heart where you never question or second guess the law any longer. This is Ezekiel 36 and 26, describing the same event. Book of Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 26. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I would put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you shall keep my judgments and do them. So yes, in the wilderness, before we are brought under the bond of the covenant, we will be relearning the laws and seeing all the things that we were doing incorrectly, which is why Ezekiel 20 described it as us being able to look back and be disgusted by our own actions, because we actually have that knowledge. And in us learning that knowledge, we make a separation between those who would want to keep the commandments versus those who continue to rebel. Those who continue to rebel will be thrown out or cast away or destroyed, while those who are seeking the commandments of God will remain. And then once the new covenant and the kingdom is established, the spirit will be put upon your heart and your mind will change so that you will never feel the need to break the commandments of God, and you will never feel the need to teach anybody anything concerning the laws of God once the kingdom is established. So that's how we would teach the process and what it looks like in terms of the new covenant in the kingdom. I hope I was clear, Akar. If I wasn't, you can ask me any questions, King. Salaki, before you do that, King, Corey, my bad, King. Corey, you have any other points you want to add?
You got it, King.
Akar, you got it, King.
Okay. I mean, so we're not going to, with all that you just said, we're not going to be downloaded with the laws. Yes?
The wording, I don't think anybody in Tabernacle of David has ever really used that wording.
I'm not talking about the Tabernacle. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about the Tabernacle of David.
But we can adopt that term. But that doesn't. We don't use it.
We don't. Tab. I'm just teaching from the position of Tab. We've never used that slogan or statement before. All we would teach it is directly what the verse says. A new heart would come into you, and a new spirit would be put upon you that will literally cause you to keep the commandments of God. Deuteronomy 30 and 7 describes it as your heart being circumcised. Jeremiah 4 and 4 uses the same wording as well. Your heart is literally, well, not literally, but according to the scriptures, being circumcised to fulfill the commandments of God. So that's how we would describe it. We can apply the programming part, sure, but I don't think Tab's ever used that wording. We don't got a problem with it, but it's just the spirit is coming upon you that you will fulfill the law and you won't choose another option. That's how we'll teach it apart.
And that's after you've been taught. I'm just trying to see if you're going to say it. Is it after you've been taught?
I think the issue with Car is that you weren't listening, and that's why you asked that question.
You know what? Okay, now
asking me that question. At
this point, I agree. I don't have nothing else to say. Yeah. Okay, no problem. You got it. I understand.
Right? What's happening? All I said was your question there proved you weren't listening, because I literally said in the wilderness, which Ezekiel 44 and Ezekiel 20 and Zechariah 30 describe, you will be taught as a nation the laws of God. Myself nor Corey disagreed with that notion. Our point is that when the kingdom is established and you are in Israel as a complete nation, unified, the Spirit of God will come upon you to cause you, meaning you will have a will to perform the laws, and no other will be within you. That's the separation between the two that we were pointing out. You being taught in the wilderness and you having that option, but then once you're in the kingdom, that option no longer exists for you in your heart. It's two different things. That was our point of Car.
Oh, Salaki. So when are you in the kingdom then? Like, because I don't know that answer at all. Like, I don't know that answer at all. When are you in the kingdom?
We're in the kingdom pursuant to Zechariah 14, Isaiah 60, and Isaiah 61. We're in the kingdom once the Israelites as a nation are established within the region that they were promised from the beginning in Genesis 15. All of their enemies have been defeated and brought down low, and there is peace and safety and security for Israel. That's when we're in the kingdom.
Okay, so when we're going around conquering with Yahweh Shah, we're not in the kingdom yet, and we still have the desire to sin potentially during that time while we're conquering other nations.
Conquering the other nations would suggest that we don't have peace and safety, if you try to word it like that, but it wouldn't. Our time of conquering the nations or bringing them to heel would be when the Israelites are in peace, surrounded according to that promise. They have their peace, and therefore the other nations must yield. What I specifically mean about the Israelites having peace is because according to Zechariah 14, the actual Israelites within that region have to be attacked again before the Most High God puts his foot down and establishes peace in our region. So we have to be attacked again by our enemies on a direct unified attack to destroy the Israelites once and for all. Then we defeat them by the power of the Most High God. And within our region, we will not have that war going on any longer. Once we have that power and control, the other nations will be brought to heel, and our kingdom will be established. And the other nations will submit in full.
God, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm asking you, during that time, though, we still will have the desire to sin while we're fighting. Because you said if we're not in the kingdom until we have peace. So we still will have that desire to sin, even with Yahweh Shah reigning over us, because we haven't conquered. They still got to come back and fight us again. Is that what you're saying to me?
No. Because when you're using that phrase, you saying desire to sin. Like, even at this time, you can say that most of us don't have the desire to sin. Let me just show something, then y'all. If you can go to Deuteronomy 30 right quick.
Another one.
Then I'll bounce it back to you.
You want verse 7 or verse 6?
Now read verse
2. This is Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 2. And shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul.
And with all thy heart and with all thy soul. So Deuteronomy 10 and 16 lets us know is that when we're keeping the commandments of God, that is the circumcision of the heart. It's saying, circumcise therefore the foreskins of your heart and be no more stiff-necked. I almost got it word for word, but that's Deuteronomy 10 and 16. So that's how we circumcise our heart, when we align our hearts with the laws of God. So in verse 2, it says, align your hearts with the laws of God. So that's not having the desire to sin, but then that's us circumcising our hearts. That's not the Lord thy God circumcising our hearts. Now read verse 6.
Verse 6. And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord your God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live.
So the desire to sin should be out of you before the Lord thy God circumcised your heart, because you have circumcised your own heart to come back to the commandments of God. So I wanted to show that separation. No, we're not going to be sliding around with Christ trying to stop at, you know what I'm saying, the BP to get one of them little pork sandwiches that they got, you know what I'm saying, in the window. We're not going to be doing it. That's
you're funny.
I'm just saying, it's just a reality, because it's like, we still going to be desiring to sin, huh? No. We riding with Christ. We don't hide. We're going to, and then you got to understand that's always the definition, right? The wicked Israelites ain't going to be riding with Christ. It's just, that's not how this thing works. I think sometimes we kind of overshoot the Israelite point and we miss the actual point of the Bible. So it's like the wicked Israelites ain't just going, oh yeah, we all deep, 1,000 deep. The gangs, the Christians, all Israelites who descend, from Jacob is going to be riding with Christ. No, it's not everybody in the world going to be riding all the Israelites. If that's the case, then no, you tripping. So the ones that's riding with Christ is not going to have the desire to sin. That doesn't make any sense. The ones that has the desire to sin is the ones that's not going to be riding with Christ. But I'll bounce back to Dan.
Hey, real quick, if I may. Also, that'll be defeating the purpose of him purging the rebels from amongst us. He said he going to purge the rebels and all those that hate him. Right? The only way we can hate the Most High God is that we go against his commandment. We sinning. Right? So that'll be the purpose. That'll be defeating the purpose of him purging, if we still going to be able to sin while we're doing these things with Christ. If that makes sense.
Well, okay. The only reason why that even came out of my mouth was because the breakdown. We're not in the new covenant till we have peace, and that's when we will have the laws in our heart, and we're good after all of that is happening. That's the only reason why I asked that question. I mean, I'm following the conversation. Is it Jeremiah? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like when I said that?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, King, but I was just trying to understand why you asked that question when they went through the steps. You say you followed the steps of the conversation.
Okay, yeah, okay, boom.
Follow the steps of what the Bible says as well. So, one of the first steps is that he gonna purge out the rebels. You see what I'm saying? That's one of the steps. He said he gonna purge out the rebels from among us.
Are we in the new covenant after that, though? Are we in the new covenant after the rebels are purged?
Hey, y'all got it done, yo.
That's what I'm at, man. I'm not being. I'm asking.
That's when you enter in. What does it mean to pass under the rod?
Can you say that one more time? I didn't hear what you said, brother. I'm sorry.
What does it mean to pass under the rod?
To agree to the terms and conditions of the new covenant. Like that means when you pass under the rod, the same thing when we pass under the rod in the old covenant, it'll be like, all right, you doing idolatry, I'm going to kill them all, but Moses fled for it. Like that type, you're under that bond, even though we didn't make it to the land yet to even keep the Passover. We didn't make it to the land to do none of that stuff. But you're under that bond because you agreed to it. That's what I'm saying. So you'll be under the punishment of that particular situation. That's what I think it means.
Well, it's Levitical speech. It's Levitical speech.
Okay.
If you go into the law concerning the tithes, are you familiar with Isaiah and the prophecy of the tenth returning?
I believe I heard it. Yes, you talking like going back under Melchizedek when Abraham gave a tenth, and then you got to give a tenth of the spoils back to the Levites again. Like, is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm just saying, and I know what you're talking about, but I'm not correlating that with Abraham. I'm just saying in Isaiah 6, where it talks about the 10th returning.
No, you can break it down to me. I'm not gonna act like I don't know everything. So yes, you can break it down. I'm listening.
Okay, yeah. I'm not saying like I know everything. I'm just saying, are you familiar with the term "pass under the rod" according to the Levitical standards in a sense, right? It says Leviticus 27.
Is that not the right? I'm not saying that I'm familiar with Isaiah 6 to break it down. I know I've read it before, but I haven't read it in a while. But I'm saying, like, to pass, is that not a good breakdown to say you pass under the rod or the bond of it to be held to the standards of that covenant? Is that not a good thought process when I say that?
Well, you said something to the degree of accepting the new covenant.
Yeah, we accepted it as a nation. He said, we actually said everything that you said we will do. It's in the book of Exodus. Is it the 19th? No, it's the 21st chapter. It's the 19th chapter, like the 6th verse or something like that. It said that everything that you said we will do. We accepted it. That's what I'm saying. To go under the bond, you're accepting it. Is that not good?
No, pass under the rod is simply how, like, if you like, that's what I'm about to read, Leviticus 27, verses 32. It says, "And concerning the tithe of the herd or of the flock, even of whatsoever passeth under the rod, the tenth shall be holy unto the Lord." Right? So when you go into the book of, I think it's Jeremiah. 1 second. Let me just get my app. In the book of Jeremiah 33, I think in verse 24, I think it is. Right? It's alluding to something. It might be Ezekiel. It could be Ezekiel. 1 second. Ezekiel 34:20. I'll read Ezekiel 34 and 20. I'll say verse 17. It says, "And as for you, O my flock, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will judge between cattle and cattle, between the rams and the he-goats. Seemeth it a small thing unto you to have eaten up the good pasture, but ye must tread down with your feet the residue of your pastures, and to have drunk of the deep waters, but ye must foul the residue with your feet. And as for my flock, they eat that which ye have trodden with your feet, and they drink that which ye have fouled with your feet. Therefore thus saith the Lord God unto them, behold, I, even I, will judge between the fat cattle and between the lean cattle, because ye have thrust with side and with shoulder, and pushed all the disease with your horns, till ye have scattered them abroad. Therefore I will save my flock, and they shall no more be a prey, and I will judge between cattle and cattle." Watch, and it says, "And I will set up one shepherd over them, and he shall feed them, even my servant David, he shall feed them, and he shall be their shepherd." So it's just alluding to the shepherd, right? Judging between his sheep in the book of Ezekiel chapter 20 verse 34, excuse me. Right? So is it not going to be a time where your works are going to be seen, whether they were wood and stubble, etc., gold, silver?
If I could for now, and let me know if I'm interrupting, and I will go back on mute.
No, go ahead, brother.
Okay. You're talking about judgment. It's in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, the 12th verse. We read it all the time, 13 and 14.
Right.
All your judgments, all that what you have done is going to come to light, which will be under the Levitical priesthood. That whatever that judgment is, that's what you're going to get. Going back under, because right now we don't get judged for being adulterers and all that stuff. But if you go back under the bond of it, the Levitical priesthood being reestablished, that's how the purging is going to happen. You agree, or this? You know what I'm saying? Like really, like you may disagree with that.
I'm not kind of like understanding what you're saying.
Salaki, because I'm following what you're saying. So just to add real quick, because what you was bringing out is let me grab that real quick. Leviticus chapter 27 and verse 32. And it says, "And concerning the tithe of the herd or of the flock, even of whatsoever passeth under the rod, the tenth shall be holy unto the Lord." So, but now are you saying basically that passing under the rod is kind of like an inspection, like bringing out that holy part that will be able to enter into that bond.
Right.
It's kind of, right.
Right. Basically, authority was given to the Son from the Father. He's the shepherd, and he's going to be appointing what sheep come in, what sheep are not worthy, what sheep are of the 144,000, etc., etc. Right? He's going to be the one who positions where the sheep go. Right? So that's just what I was saying, the passing to the rod. And it's even deeper than that. If you even go into where it says he will plead there with us face to face, right? Even if you go to 1 Corinthians 13, right? 1 Corinthians 13, right? It talks about, just give me a second, I gotta look for, I got my son in one hand. Give me one second.
All you brothers with these babies, boy. Good night.
Yeah, man. It's just my fifth.
All praises. All praises.
Yeah, man. He made it through. Little Josiah. Just give me a sec, because I got one hand right now.
Man, I'm not in no rush. I'm working a 12-hour shift. I ain't in no rush at all.
Hey, I came up to say one more thing, and not to get into the bill, but I just want to make a comment. It kind of seemed like that brother is kind of rushing the order of prophecy, like all this gonna happen in a week, and we're gonna be in the wilderness, and bam, we're right there in the kingdom. All this gonna happen in a week. We got to keep in mind, this is it's a time period. I don't know, the full breakdown, so I'm not trying to get into the bill that lead that up to the teachers, but I do believe that it's going to happen over a period of time. So there's certain steps that has to happen, and it's pretty intricate. It's not just some smooth system that's just going to happen, in 30 days, and bam, it's done.
Right. It's an overview, because sometimes when you read scriptures like in the twinkling of an eye, we shall be changed. Like a lot of people think the city is going to just fall from heaven. Christ prepared a place for us, and that place is being built by the angels. It's going to come down like a cube, right? And then make a big noise, dust fly up when Jerusalem fall on the mount. That's not what the scriptures is entail.
And if I could, I don't believe that at all. I believe we got to have it. Okay.
I'm not saying you. I'm just giving some scriptures to add some color to what the brothers are saying, right? Get 1 Corinthians 13 and 11, Baba Kashah.
So like the other one, you said 1 Corinthians 13.
Right, concerning the being pleading face to face. This is just idiom, like when Moses was able to speak with the Lord. It's going to be a time where we're going to know as we are known, the scripture said. That's why it says face to face. It's not going to be anything concealed anymore, right? We're going to know as we are known, right? And even whether you be judged, you're going to know that, right? We don't know if we have the number. Like we were talking to a group prior to the room, Corey opened up, and they were making it seem like we already in the victory. Like, you don't know that, brother. We hope for that. So that's what it means to hope for the redemption, right? We're waiting for the redemption of our bodies. We're waiting for the redemption of us out of captivity. We're waiting for these things, right? So 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 11. When I was a child, I spake as a child and understood as a child. I thought as a child, But when I became a man, I put away childish things.
Yep, next verse.
For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face.
See?
No, I know.
That, see? We see through a glass darkly. We don't, that's why we're having this talk here. That's how you know we haven't been established in that covenant, right? Because we're still learning and we're still teaching each other, right? So when it says, read that one more time, Diana.
It says, for no, we see through a glass dark.
Brother, you went out.
Hey, what was your scripture?
1 Corinthians 13, 11, and 12.
Did this check any fuel?
Yes, it does.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry, y'all. I'm just trying to get finished with 1 Corinthians chapter 11. Chapter 11, what verse again? I'm sorry.
13, 11, and 12.
Oh, 13, 11, and 12. Okay. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I am become as sounding brass of a tinkling cymbal. Oh, hold on, this wrong. This verse 1. 11 and 12. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known.
See? So when you go to Ezekiel 20, when it talks about pleading face to face, right, we're going to get all of our answers there. You know, Yahweh Shai is going to bring us to our fullness and our fullness of maturity, which entails being brought to our perfection, right, and the glory, right? But some of us hope for that, right? That's why the next verse says, read the next verse.
Verse 13. And now abideth faith, hope, charity. These three, but the greatest of these is charity.
So it says faith, hope, charity, right? I want to keep highlighting that word hope. What is the hope, right? We hope to enter into that covenant where we are redeemed and redeemed from these bodies and redeemed from this hell, right? So there's a lot that needs to happen. Even the people, I was telling the brothers in the other room, I said, what about the souls that when the fifth seal was open, what about those souls, right? When it talks about Christ, if you go into the Apocrypha, it talks about there's certain judgments that after death you experience pain. What does the Bible talk about? The pains of death, which Christ threw off. But there are still souls, right, who hoped in that promise, who are pleading with the Lord, when are you going to judge them on the earth? Right? They're still, in a sense, in the pains of death. Right? What about those souls that got to be redeemed? What about our souls that have to be redeemed and brought back to the first estate? So it's a lot that has to take place before we enter into this covenant. What about those souls that passed on? You don't know if they made it into the hope of glory, but it say, God is wings, he's in the hope of glory. You don't know that.
So if I could, the breakdown I was just given is that Israelites will be in the new covenant when they get the peace, but they're going to come up against. So when we actually establish the whole kingdom, we established it. Now we in our own land, we got all that stuff, but they're going to come back up against us again to fight, which means we don't have a total peace until they come back and fight us again. That's going to take a long period of time. I'm with y'all. It's not happening. It's not happening.
That's what I say. It's not going to happen in a blink of an eye, brother.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. I said I'm with y'all. It's not happening overnight. I was about to say that.
Right. So listen.
Okay.
So for example, I was telling this to the brothers believe it or not, we got a long time. I'm not saying as far as the second coming. I'm talking about we got a long time before we actually see the earth yield its increase in its fullness. It's going to take an era, right? The heathen got to clean the earth. Brothers is going to be the new government over the world. We're going to be appointed appointed to judge them, right? It's going to be a lot of. Have you ever seen the movies that they're bringing out, like Book of Eli? All these end time movies, right? It's just not going to happen. Even they understand that. They try to, Christianity has made you think that it's going to be like a magical event that's going to take place, and things are just going to be a month or a day. You know what I mean? It's going to take centuries, brother. Right? It's going to take a long time for the world to be cleansed. Right? They're going to build up our walls. Right? That's going to take a minute. I'm not putting an actual time on it, but, I'm just saying an estimation. Right?
Okay.
Hunting them from.
You're in the matrix, Support.
My question is, man, this is like, I'm at this damn slavery. Okay, my question is though, for now, straight up and down, there's a new covenant start in Ezekiel the 20th chapter. That's my question, brother.
Yes.
Okay, so the breakdown that I was given is that we're not in the new covenant until we have total peace. So that means even after Ezekiel the 20th chapter, we're still not in the new covenant. Predicated on the breakdown I just got. You agree?
Well, I don't even know what was said.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
So I can't disagree with what was not said. But I don't know what was said. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, and that's the only reason why I'm stopping you.
I have an understanding to what they were alluding to. But it's talking about, the earth coming to its perfection and things of that nature. That's a while from now. There's still going to be, like I said, there's still going to be a sense of like when John said he saw them who were harping, right? They stood upon the sea of glass mingled with fire. That wasn't literal in the sense of, they were standing on a sea that was made of glass and it was fire in little portions of it. No, they overcame the globe. Like, when Noah got off the ark, those 8 souls overcame a massive flood, right? They had to reestablish the world, the government, repopulate, right? This is the same thing that's going to take place, but this time it's going to be fire, right? And we got to subject the heathen, etc., etc. So the longing of the promises is not just going to appear, boom. We'll see judgment, we'll see those things, but there's going to be the promise of it coming back to Eden. When you read certain scriptures about a wilderness becoming fruitful and things of that nature, right? There's certain kingdoms going to be established. We at a time where you can't even cast seed into the earth and grow fruit. You get what I'm saying? The earth is not yielding increase, but the earth has to go through an ecological cleansing, right? So when the kingdom just appears, that doesn't mean that everything's just going to fall in line, right? Those covenantal promises is going to come when the government is built up back on the earth through the promises of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But that doesn't mean that there's going to be a level. Now, Israel will have peace with God. That's what I would say.
Now, Paula, I want to ask you a question. Predicated on what you just said. So you can be in the new covenant without everything being fulfilled. Predicated on what you just said.
Say that again? I'm trying to make out what you're saying. Repeat that question.
I said you can be in the new covenant then in Ezekiel the 20th chapter without everything being fulfilled, because it's going to take a long span of time before everything gets fulfilled. Predicated on what you just said. Yes?
Well, when you read scriptures of, I'm going to give it to you like how I understand it, right? Moses was a salvation, and the Lord was willing to perform his vow through Solomon. But that wasn't an everlasting salvation. This is going to be the everlasting salvation, which will lead Israel into a place where they would never fall again. That's why in the scriptures it said, forever and ever, amen. Right? It's a promise that it would never fall, but there's certain foundations that got to be reestablished in the earth. There's captivity that has to take place on the earth, right? Certain judgments have to happen and take place on the earth, right? So, does that answer your question?
No, because you didn't give me a solid yes or a no, but I'll ask it again. And I don't disagree with you at all. I believe that. I truly, emphatically.
I'm sorry. Even my brother Yah was stopping. My brother said, "Listen, I'm a horrible multitasker. I got my son right on my shoulder, so I'm trying to keep up."
Man, it's all good. I'm asking.
I'm terrible at multitasking. Salakia.
Predicated on what you just said, we still got to go through building the kingdom up, getting all the nations, getting them under our foot. They're going to come up against us, fight us again. All of that got to happen. But you're still telling me that it starts in Ezekiel the 20th chapter. So predicated on that, we're in the new covenant in Ezekiel the 20th chapter, with still stuff not fulfilled all the way. Yes?
Yeah, stuff is still not all the way fulfilled, bro.
Even though we're in a new covenant in Ezekiel the 20th chapter.
It's not all, everything is not fulfilled, brother.
All praises. Okay, cool. No problem.
Right. Not everything is going to be fulfilled. It's still got to be, like I said, Ezekiel, was it, 39, and I think it's 14? When it's talking about the heathen shall bury bodies, it's going to be bodies laid out. That's why I said those who overcame that were harping, which is that awakened singing in Isaiah 26, right? The gospel, right? They overcame what I teach as the second death, the judgment of fire that's coming upon the whole earth, right? It's going to be war even from the heavens, right? The saints are going to war, execute judgment on the heathen, scriptures say. Two-edged sword in one hand, right? That's going to happen, right? The saints shall take the kingdom, right? So that's going to be several events, right? That's got to take place. So when they talk about the new heaven and the new earth in Isaiah 65, that's the final goal. That's the final goal. We got to burn up the weapons. In this paradise, you're not going to see a damn cigarette butt on the ground. That's going to be burnt up. Ain't going to be no dang dirty subways with piss stains in the kingdom. That got to be all cleaned up, melted down by fire, the Lord. Right? So there's going to be a lot of what can I say? When it talks about the kingdom being translated, the kingdom of darkness translated into a kingdom of light, there's going to be a translation process, bro. You get that?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of slow singing and song bringing when our burger Lord starts singing. I understand that. I disagree. Brother, I appreciate you for even having this conversation with me, man. I am an Israelite. I belong from the tribe of Levi. Yahweh Shem Yahweh to you, brother, specifically, and I just appreciate you guys even talking to me and having the patience to even converse with me. I appreciate it.
All praises, brother.
And this is my final question. This is my final question. I'm gonna drop back down. I've been hearing now. This is a straight up and down. Like, I'm so freaking sincere. I've been hearing we can't eat mushrooms, and I hear we can eat mushrooms. What's the final judgment on that? Because somebody asked me about mushrooms, and I couldn't get my answer.
You know what's so crazy? Back in like 2012, I asked, I don't know if you know Brother Jeremiah with the Precepticons a long time ago. He was in Oklahoma, was Kansas City. I was like, yo, is it okay to eat mushrooms? He looked at me, he was like, yo, that's a good question. I've never heard of it being unlawful. I've never heard of it being unlawful. But I could look into that. I don't think it is, though. I don't see it in the law where you can't, because there are certain mushrooms that are for medicinal purposes. So I wouldn't think that the Most High would refuse someone for using mushrooms for medicinal purposes. You get what I'm saying, brother?
No, you know what I actually do? What I heard was, I do get what you said, but I want you to know I heard that from listening to Jesus in the book of Sirach. I understand it. I've heard, like, because of the fungus, it's a fungus, it's not an herb-bearing seed. They pulled that on me. And I was like, well, I guess it is not an herb-bearing seed, but, you know, just the way Corey even brought out, if I'm saying his rank and title correct, I don't want to put nothing on him that he don't deserve. When Corey was like, you wouldn't eat poison ivy, even though poison ivy would be a herb. You know what I'm saying? So like I just don't, I don't have an answer, but that sounds really good when you talk about the medicinal purposes of it. So I don't know the answer to that, but I appreciate you for looking into it.
Can I be heard?
You can be heard.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, I don't know what you had said last, Akar, because it had blanked out on my end. But yeah, I think the Israelite community is kind of split on that decision when it comes to like mushrooms, because it's not something that's like specified in the text. It's like certain animals, right, that's not specified in the text. So the Most High God like gives, and I'm making a whole nother point. The Most High God gives clarity of a structure of animals to eat, like, you know, divide the hoof, chew the cud. So you're looking for like certain systems in an animal to consume, because of course all of them are not named in Leviticus 11. So that's something that I hold to, that mushrooms should not be consumed. I think it's very wise to not consume them because of the text not detailing that you can. Like in Genesis 1, it chose to detail those herb-bearing seeds that produce directly from trees or come out of the ground. You know what I mean? We don't see any type of leafy growth, on those things. And like I said, like even with Panah's wisdom, when it comes to like mushrooms, like a lot of things to me have like medicinal purposes. Like I personally teach against sea moss. So I feel like sea moss has benefits. I think everything has like certain benefits that you can teach that it could help with something. Like things that is poisonous, things that's very helpful for the body. Anything can kill you. Water can kill you. So I think that's a totally different angle when we go to like medicinal things. Some things, herbs ain't got no damn medicinal purposes. It's just lawful. God said you can eat it, so it's just lawful. So if you take, that angle, then I think then that's it makes for a different conversation, and it's always a good conversation. But I try to kind of stick to the system of what's communicated in Genesis 1 and play it safe. And I see this little damn, what you call them little damn things? It's, you just stomp them. It's just ain't nothing.
This brother's allergies.
It's just, it's like, how you play the game and you just jump on something and it bounces you up like a trampoline. It's like, that's what a mushroom is to me. It just doesn't have that bouncy part.
Yeah, what the Mario Brothers was hopping on.
Yeah, the little Mario Brothers. It just smashed on the ground. It's like, So I know the argument between the two. I've heard both sides, and they come out. And it's one of those things that I don't say that either side wins. I think you just got to wash your hands. The reason why I want to do sea moss is because to me, there's nothing inside of the Bible that supports you receiving, let's say, like, my position is that it's an algae. So it's a live organism coming out of the water. So you should not consume it. But if one was to teach, nah, brother, it ain't no live organism, brother. It ain't an algae. It's a plant. Well, I don't see anywhere in the Bible where the Most High supports any type of plants coming out of the water for you to consume. In Genesis 1, it says out of the dry land, and it's talking about, because it's coming out of the earth, it's talking about the trees, the seeds, the things you plant. I don't know if anybody go to the bottom of the water in the middle of the Pacific Ocean planting sea moss, and then you got to go and root it up. I don't know how that goes, but I'm saying I don't see that system being communicated inside of the Bible, so I play it safe. But I think that if brothers want to make points of like medicinal purposes, which is usually what the point is, and then like it's not just so crystal clear, then I get it. But I wouldn't I would just play it safe when it comes to those things. So until we teach against.
Hey, the water.
The car, just letting you know, Corey's more righteous than me. He actually his album, even though he started after my album, he finished before me. Let me tell you, he made more unity camps that I was supposed to show up to. So yeah, I would lean on what Corey is teaching. That brother's more righteous than me, so just want to give him his flowers.